everyone, and welcome back to my channel, IELTS with Charles. Today is a very exciting day. Today I've invited my best friend from England, Jordan.
Hello.
Hello, Jordan, who has flown over from England today to join us in Ho Chi Minh City for a few days. Jordan, what are your first impressions of Ho Chi Minh City?
It's wonderful, it's vibrant, it's bright, the smells of the cuisine are very luring. I've almost stopped 3 times on the way just to have some food.
Fantastic.
The people are extremely friendly.
Good.
Warm, welcoming. I feel like I know people already.
How wonderful.
Wonderful reception, wonderful.
Well, you can see why I moved here from the UK.
I can indeed, absolutely.
Fallen in love with it.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, guys, today we've got a little bit of a challenge for Jordan. Jordan, I think you will agree you've never studied IELTS before. You are aware of the IELTS exam?
What's IELTS?
Okay, good. And I thought it would be a wonderful challenge for us to give Jordan a mock speaking test, so you can see how a native speaker performs with no prior experience. So, are you up for the challenge?
I am indeed.
Fantastic. So let's begin. So, Jordan, my name is Charles Price and I will be your examiner today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling relatively calm.
Good.
The green setting outside definitely helps.
Fantastic, wonderful. Now, Jordan, I will ask for your ID, which I think you just dropped on the floor, but that's okay. And if you're happy, we can start?
We can.
Fantastic. So, Jordan, to start with, I'd like us to talk about accommodation. What type of house do you live in, Jordan?
I live in an apartment. It's a attic loft conversion in a 4-storey house in central London.
Fantastic. And why do you like London?
Again, it's vibrancy. There's always something happening. London's never dull. The city never sleeps. There's rich in arts, music, history. There's so much culture on offer, which I absolutely love. It keeps me interested in London, which is why I've remained there for 12 years. I only ever wanted to live there for a year, but once you're in London, it's very hard to leave.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Is there anything you don't like about your city?
Sometimes it can be too busy. So for years I lived in central London. You would step out of your front door and it's chaotic.
Yes.
Now I live in a quieter area, which I very much appreciate after a busy day in the office. And it's a very fast pace of life.
Yes.
Sometimes I like to slow down, but London is always going at full speed.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Now let's move on to talk about celebrities. Jordan, who is your favourite celebrity?
My favourite celebrity has to be probably Lady Gaga.
Really?
For obvious reasons.
Why?
I think she's very versatile. She's a singer, she's an actress, she directs, she plays a lot of instruments. I really respect that in a musician. So yeah, I think she's great.
Yeah. Do you think people worship celebrities too much in modern culture?
I'd say yes. I think the UK is very guilty of that, but we're often following in the US's footsteps. But yes, I mean, they're everywhere, and I think social media has exacerbated that. It really has. You know, we've got celebrities at our fingertips. We're constantly comparing ourselves to celebrities, not always in a positive way. But yes, it's very much a celebrity culture. They're everywhere.
Wonderful, well done. In your opinion, do you prefer to go to live concerts or do you prefer to watch something on TV?
Definitely live concerts, yes. I think I missed that during the pandemic. There's a lot to be had in live music: atmosphere, connection, meeting new people, connecting with the audience, and I think for the musician as well, connecting with their fan base is really important. You can see the musicians when they're on stage, that's really where they get their high and their buzz, is from crowd participation. Absolutely. So yes, there's a lot to be had by live music. And I think it's good for well-being. Your day is enriched if you engage with the arts in any way, and music is a big part of that, and it's a big part of London as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much. Well done. And just lastly, if we can talk about the topic of food.
My favourite topic.
Absolutely. What is your favourite cuisine?
My favourite cuisine, apart from Vietnamese, of course, is Italian.
Really?
Now the thing about Italian food is it's not too complex. There's usually 2 or 3 ingredients if you think of a lot of Italian dishes, but they're high quality, they're locally sourced, there's care and attention that goes into the food, and it's something that I can certainly cook quite well. But yeah, absolutely Italian. I love Italian cuisine and the culture, the country. Italy is by far it's my go-to.
Your cup of tea?
Country, yes, my cup of tea.
Fantastic, well done. Thank you very much, Jordan. That's excellent, part 1. So now, if you're happy, we can move on to part 2.
We can, yes.
Now, in part 2, Jordan, I will give you a question, and you have 1 minute to prepare. So I'll give you the question here and a pen. You have 1 minute to prepare, and then I'll ask you to speak for 2 minutes, okay? So if you have 1 minute to prepare now. Describe a city that you have been to and want to visit again. You should say where it is, who you went with, what you did there, and why you would like to go there again. So Jordan, if you're ready, you can start now.
So I recently, very recently, only a month ago, 4 weeks ago, visited Athens in Europe, the capital of ancient Greece, of course. So I was there with my partner David. It was our first time in Greece together, so it was very special. Relatively easy flight, 3.5 hours direct. And the reason we were there was for a wedding of a very dear friend of mine, Ulla, who I studied at university with. We've known each other for 16 years. It was her wedding, and she had her bachelorette party in Athens. So we landed in Athens. So it was very special for that reason. One of my fondest memories of the trip was arriving to her bachelorette, her not realising the exact time I was due to arrive, and the look on her face. So we had a wonderful evening with her friends. We had some fabulous cocktails. And one thing that really stood out for me was the Greek cuisine. Now there's a recurring theme here because food is often a big part of my travels. Yes. And we had some lovely quality food from local restaurants. The waiters were very attentive. They explained how the food was made, very high quality. We had chicken shawarma fairly regularly, which was a firm favourite of mine, certainly. I would definitely go back to Greece, I have to say. It pleasantly surprised me. I'm very interested in history, so ancient Greek was particularly appealing. The people were very welcoming. They're very passionate about their country and their food. And of course, we've created lovely memories with my friend for her wedding, so it would be lovely to go back and visit again.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Well done. Good job. So Jordan, I thoroughly enjoyed your part 2. Thank you very much for telling me about ancient Greece.
My pleasure.
We will now move on to part 3. So Jordan, how can people benefit from travelling to another country?
I think travelling is key to education. It's about opening up one's mind, developing a global outlook. I think it gives you a greater appreciation of your own culture. One often contrasts and compares when they're visiting other countries. It's just very enriching. I think it enriches the whole learning experience when you're able to visit a country and really get under the skin of that particular country and its culture is really important to me.
Excellent. And are there any problems that one might face when travelling to your country, England?
I think at times there are various barriers. I think, if we look at our government and various visa restrictions that may or may not have been introduced for particular countries. Yes. I know through my own work at educational institution, often that can be quite preventative for students in particular, but also for tourists. But other than that, once you are there, it's a very, it's a great country. It's very warm, welcoming, and inclusive.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'd now like us to move on to the topic of environment. Do you think that climate change is a big issue at the moment?
It is. I mean, you only have to look at the current heat wave we're experiencing in England, which is unheard of.
Yes.
It's cooler here at the moment than it is in England. I think we're supposed to hit 38 degrees on Monday.
Wow.
There's recently been a big fire, which is, again, not something we're used to in England. But yeah, it's a real problem. There's no escaping it. It's everywhere you look at the moment. There's no denying that we all need to act and do something to try and prevent further damage before it's too late. It's a real turning point at the moment. Yes. I could talk a lot about sustainability, and again, through my work, we are a green, sustainable institution, and it's very much at the forefront of my mind on a daily basis, yes.
Absolutely, yeah, I can imagine. So you talk about the steps that people should take. What would you recommend that an individual can do to help solve the problem of climate change?
I think people have to realise that it is our problem, it's a shared problem. Yes. And if we all can make small changes, it will make a big difference. So I think it's considering your daily habits, considering things that you can do differently, rather than consuming so much plastic, switch to a different material. I no longer use plastic bottles or plastic cups.
Absolutely.
Biodegradable sponges for washing up. Just do your research. It's very fulfilling and rewarding knowing that you are making a small difference, and that's all it needs to be. I went to a festival recently and there were things like, you know, no glitter at the festival, it had to be biodegradable.
Brilliant.
And a lot of festivals in England now are publishing guidance as to how they are ensuring that their festivals are sustainable and ways in which you can ensure that as a visitor you are acting in a sustainable way. So I think it's small changes we can all make.
Thank you.
We should be making.
Yes, fantastic. And just to finish today, on the topic of changes, how do you think travel will change in the future?
I think travel has already changed. I think the pandemic has made us rethink travel. There's certainly, it's less accessible, I feel, at the moment.
Really?
Purely because of, for example, in England at the moment, there's a real staff shortage. So travel's changed whereby queues are longer. It took me 4 hours where it would usually take 2 hours to get through check-in, security, etc.
Yes.
I think travel has changed also in a way that people are more conscious of their carbon footprint. Again, back to the topic of sustainability. I think people are more conscious as to how far they are flying, how frequently. And I think the pandemic and the use of technology has also changed travel. I think, you know, there's a lot to be had by being in the country, but certainly we've done a lot at my university for creating virtual experiences, so virtual field trips to particular countries for students to still be able to interact and engage in various means, but by not visiting the country. But I think, you know, travel's constantly changing and evolving, and the pandemic has had a huge impact on that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Well done. Jordan, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate your time. Excellent.
My pleasure.
I hope you thoroughly enjoyed watching Jordan's video. Wasn't it interesting to see how a native speaker speaks with no prior experience? I would like to personally commend him on his vocabulary and, of course, his fluency. Guys, you must have seen the way that he spoke was so natural and fluent, just like he was having a conversation. Very relaxed style. His part 1 really showed that, with good, concise answers, to the point, with great fluency, making sure that he answered the right question. His part 2, however, he was using very simple grammar structures in the way that he was speaking, very often repeating the phrase and also, and also. Moreover, there was a real lack of advanced grammar structures, which we introduced in our last video. Since, therefore, as a result, due to the fact that, not only, but also. Remember, these are the grammar structures that help us to improve our grammar score. Moreover, I felt like he lacked a little bit of intonation at times. Remember intonation? The rise and fall of your voice when you speak. So if I was his teacher, I would advise him on that. The main problem with the part 2, though, was the lack of structure. He was telling me a long story about his time and his experiences while traveling, but didn't really look at the question and didn't answer all of the points. So I'd have liked to, if I was his teacher, instruct him to really make sure he looks at the questions and analyzes all the points as he's answering. But overall, of course, this would still be considered an excellent answer. I'm being really critical. Lastly, with the part 3, I really enjoyed his part 3. However, I felt like some of the answers were a little bit long and sometimes they went off topic as well, especially when we were talking about the sustainability of festivals. It seemed to go a little bit off topic there. In the real exam, the examiner might have interrupted him at that point and asked the next question. But overall, I think you will agree Jordan did a fantastic job. I look forward to making other videos with him in the future. So of course, for Jordan's performance, given his natural style, excellent fluency and beautiful pronunciation, I would of course have to give him a band 9 in his IELTS speaking. Congratulations, Jordan. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video, and a big thanks to my special guest Jordan. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks
Welcome to Vietnam. And I hope you enjoyed that video. As always guys, please hit like if you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe to support the channel as well, and leave a comment with your thoughts about Jordan's performance. Thank you for watching. Bye bye guys.
Bye bye.